All rise. The National Mock Trial Championship is now in session. The Honorable Chief District Judge B. Windmill presiding.
Good evening. At this time, I'll announce that this is the time for the court to hear the case of Ilan Zabala versus Luz Bennett and the Flying Bee Cattle Ranch.
Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. No one should be allowed to make up their own rules and use threats, violence, and intimidation to enforce them. Unfortunately, there's an individual right here in Blaine County who conducts himself that way, and his name is Luz Bennett, the defendant in today's case. Gabby Echeverria, Mr. Bennett's employee, acting at his direction, poisoned and killed the sheep of Ilan Zabala not once, not twice, but 3 times. May it please the court, counsel, members of the jury. My name is Divya Nimagada, and along with my co-counsel, we have the honor of representing Ilan Zabala, a local sheep herder, in today's case.
Yes, Your Honor. May I proceed?
Yes.
May it please the court, opposing counsel, members of the jury. It was only a matter of time. Today you hear how the plaintiff, Ilan Zabala, has repeatedly taken actions that have put her livestock at risk, and how it was only a matter of time before her sheep would become ill. Ilan Zabala began sheep herding 6 years ago here in Idaho, and today you'll hear of the business practices of Ms. Zabala.
Ms. Laughlin, you may examine the witness.
Good afternoon. Please introduce yourself to the members of the jury.
My name is Ilan Zabala.
Tell the members of the jury a little bit about yourself.
I was born in Guernica, Spain, the heart of Basque County. I come from a long line of sheep herders, but in 2003 I moved to the United States to Peekaboo, Idaho. I took English courses and now I'm an American citizen. I started with a small flock of sheep, but soon it grew to over 1,500.
What did you observe about Mr. Echeverria's reaction to your decision to start your own company?
He wasn't too happy.
Objection, Your Honor, speculation.
May I respond, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm not asking Ms. Zabala to speculate to Mr. Echeverria's state of mind. I'm simply asking her to testify to her own observations.
Mr. Stickley?
The witness just testified that Mr. Echeverria was not happy. The witness has gone into specifics as to Mr. Echeverria's state of mind. This is improper at this time.
I'll sustain the objection, but counsel, I'll give you a chance to ask the witness, and I will direct the witness to answer counsel's question directly as to what you observed, rather than stating what your assumption was as to that reaction. You may go ahead and proceed.
Move to strike the offensive testimony.
The one comment will be stricken. You may proceed.
Now, it's true, Ms. Zabala, you didn't agree with all of Mr. Echeverria's practices, did you?
You don't have to agree, there's different ways of sheep herding.
Redirecting back to my question, you didn't, did you?
No, I didn't.
More specifically, you refused to quarantine and to vaccinate your own herd, true?
Well, the risk of this is very little, but the cost of these practices is very high, so it doesn't make sense as a smart business person.
Ms. Zabala, redirecting you back to my question, you don't quarantine or vaccinate your herd, do you?
For business reasons, yes.
I'd like to clarify this for the members of the jury. It's true, by not quarantining your sheep, you take a new sheep and immediately introduce it to the rest of the herd, don't you?
Yes, but I trust my brokers, and usually I breed my own sheep.
Ms. Zabala, we'll talk about your brokers in just a moment, but I'd like to clarify your practices about vaccination. It's true, by not vaccinating, you failed to give your sheep any vaccines to help prevent illness, correct?
May I announce the arrival of the Senate?
I'm really proud that you're here. You are the best of the best. We can talk about the greatest generation. I think it's those of you sitting out in the chairs right now.
I want to challenge you to reaffirm your convictions as citizens, always keeping in mind the YMCA core values of caring, honesty, respect, responsibility.
YMCA Youth Government is a chance for kids all over the state of Idaho to come together and simulate the legislative, executive, and judicial experience. They're learning about all kinds of different levels of government. They're acting out, they're in the real seats, they're in the real chambers, they're in the real rooms, and getting a real hands-eye, first-person look at how government works. They've been working with their advisors for many months, writing bills, preparing cases, and each has a part to play here to learn more about how our Idaho government works.
How do you suggest we mitigate that in terms of making sure that every allotted time slot stays that way?
From a small town like Oakley, Idaho, to coming up here to Boise and understanding this political system, so much changes.
We will proceed to the next House Bill, HB 201218 by Grangeville High School.
It's been really exciting. Honestly, the best thing is I was chosen as a committee chair, and I really, as a junior, I haven't taken government or anything of that sort, so I wasn't aware of parliamentary procedure. So I was really nervous about that, but everyone was just so kind about it, and I got corrected, obviously, but everyone was so friendly, and I didn't really mind, and it was a really good learning experience.
So I think that this bill all around should get a do pass recommendation.
Last year I was in co-counsel, which was my first year here at Youth Ledge, and I won the case. And this year I ran at the regionals for the position of Chief Justice-elect because it was offered. The positions rotate to different regions. And I thought that I'd run for Chief Justice-elect, and I was glad to find out that people have put their trust in me to do those duties.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear or affirm. I do solemnly swear or affirm.
So we start typically in the fall, or early months of the school year, getting ready for regional conferences. Students attend regional workshops so that they can run for various positions throughout the state. We have different regions that do that, and we break up those different positions. And kids will practice and compete for moot court qualifying rounds and host their elections at their home schools. And then once positions are decided, advisors will work with other kids and gather other volunteers to be the other positions that weren't chosen, and then start writing bills and practicing and preparing before they get here.
Here, you're actually experiencing it. You're getting to understand more of what goes on, and so it's really cool from just doing the cases, doing co-counsel and all that, and to coming here and seeing how bills are passed between the Senate and the House, and then when it comes to my desk as governor, I get to either veto those bills or, pass them on. And later this afternoon, I have to pass a constitution for what is going to be college YMCA, college youth government, to where instead of in high school we do it on a state level, but for college it's going to be on a national level. So you're talking like, president, vice president.
So all those in favor of sending it to the floor?
I'll send it to the floor.
Send it to the floor.
I think they're going to have an appreciation, if anything, of how the system works a lot more after walking through it and experiencing very closely what it actually looks like in the real world.
So these officers would actually make less money even in this downturn economy?
Many of the bills were very realistic. We started off with a nuclear power bill, and then we went all the way to ride your exotic animal to work day. So it was just really interesting to learn the procedure with such realistic and funny bills.
We actually got to see an actual appellate case in the Supreme Court building with 3 justices presiding, and it was a really neat experience watching that.
I'm a product of youth government. I'm an alumni. I came when I was a student I teach at my alma mater, and I'm an alumni for youth government from my school. I worked at Worth Youth Government when I was a political science major, and now as an advisor. So youth government's been in my blood for 16 years, and I think that's the impact. I think it shows the impact that this program has on students, that it's something that they can carry with them into their adult life, and obviously and be an integral part of who they are.
Ms. Pratt, what would the fiscal impact be?
So many students that come here and they get a chance to do something maybe that they've never done before, and because everybody has a role to play, they get a chance to shine. And I think of a girl, I believe her name was Mariah, I don't think I'll ever forget her name, not one of my students several years ago, a house page, and she received an overwhelming amount of applause when she won the Outstanding Page Award. Not the statesman, not the lobbyist, but just this outstanding young woman who was an assistant to all the representatives. And I think that was one of the best moments in youth government. I think that was about 3 or 4 years ago. And just the fact that I don't think that moment, she will ever forget that moment, that recognition, and everyone has a chance for that here.
Many of us, it's our, fourth time or third time come back, and for a lot of people it's, their second or their first. You really don't know, but there are so many kids here that are going to just have a huge learning experience. And for them to come during the 75th year, it's quite amazing.
It's been a great experience. I think it gives me, a unique advantage with my students to be able to really walk them through the program and get a really understanding of how it works. But it's also been fun to see how the program has been made better each and every year, and my time on the board has been a wonderful experience as well, to really get to be in the trench works of making this a great program for students so that they have an excellent experience. And so I'm really proud of all the work. I'm really proud of the YMCA and hope that we have another 75 years of youth government.
It's kind of fun to be part of a legacy like that, 75 years and counting. So I think it's awesome.
What is your goal in leading students in this program?
Oh, it's absolutely about citizenship. No program I'm aware of does a better job of making students excited about what it means to be an active citizen.
Be engaged, be happy, be enthused by what you're doing. Everything that we have heard from every other judge in every unit has been, it is not simply our command of factual material, but it is our enthusiasm for it. We lean into the questions.
Oh, I can hear that you're ready.
You bet.
Oh, your voices just sound full. Please be seated. I am Maida Buckley, the state coordinator from Alaska, and I'm very pleased to bring your Unit 4 judges, and they will introduce themselves. Have a good time.
Parliament's ability to impact the formulation of legislation has historically been minimal. This, however, is changing.
I think that I would just like to tell other high school students that you don't know really everything that our government has to offer you until you've read the Constitution and until you've learned about the delegates who fought for your rights. I don't think that you can utilize all the freedoms that you have until you learn how to exercise them.
Some of the most famous debates in American history echoed anti-federalist arguments in which Lee participated. The 1858 Lincoln-Douglas debates and the 1960 civil rights debates reflected the conflict of states' rights versus national power.
No debate since 1788 has come close to the nationwide intellectual exchange that led 18th century Americans to dub their nation the Empire of Reason.
Thus, we assert the ratification debates are not one of, but the greatest and most probing debates in American history because they paved the way for all future political discourse.
The Federalists, writing Publius, countered with the most extensive series of essays in support of ratification, the Federalist Papers.
In Federalist Papers 20 through 23, Publius argued that the Articles had produced an ineffective government. Additionally, papers 47 through 51 argued the need for separation of powers.
I was just looking at Federalist 84. Publius is just attacking the most intemperate partisans of a Bill of Rights. That's kind of like in your face in the time. So these were not dispassionate debates.
We go to a school that has a government center, but we still are constricted to a certain group of people and being exposed to all these kids who have the same kind of interest in government as we are. That's really something special.